This is the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
And the station for you is OTR, especially if you want to hear and are interested in the classic vintage tube CB radios from 1958 to 1978. We will have hopefully some of them coming by tonight here on Channel 11, 27085 in Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello to those at oldtuberadio.net listening in on the audio stream, and hello to those of you at Google YouTube watching the video stream. And I guess I should say, most importantly, hello to you at 27085 on the radio, checking and OTR listening.
135. 45.
All right, I have two. We've got SWL 45. Paul will be right up with you, but first, let's head over to SWL 135, and I will dial you in on the official tube radio list. We're starting with nothing in the blanks, and we're hoping to fill up as many as possible. Scooter, the Radio Cat, is here to make sure that everything goes well, especially if it involves pause on the keyboard. So if you see extraneous things coming across your screen, you know why. Hello, Mr. Green Arrow from the Old Tube Radio Network.
And hello, Old Tube Radio Network from the Green Arrow. SWL 135 here on the Robin, T as in Tango, 123B, base/mobile type station in the base type configuration out here in the backyard.
All right, and sounding good out in the backyard. Just a reminder for those listening on the radio that we do have oldtuberadio.net, where we try most times to show or insert a picture of the radio that is checking in, or a radio that looks like the radio that is checking in. I think on this one we're getting lucky. We're going to have the actual radio that might be checking in, and likewise on the video stream, we also try to insert that picture so you can get an idea of what the radio looks like. Many of you know these radios well, and you might have one on your shelf that looks exactly like the nice big green Robin, the 123 Bravo. Back to you.
Yeah, let's see, green channel 11, well, the green sector channel 11. Channel 11 is actually in white numbers, but the background is green. That's always nice. My mod light is red. The receive light is green, but right now I'm in the blue TX mode. Oh yes, and the microphone is the Robin MT1 desk microphone, which I don't think is in that picture.
No, it is showing the hand microphone, but I know we have one of the radios, one of your radio pictures has the MT1 microphone with it, so maybe could be the 123 by itself, but I know that you actually do have that in one of the pictures, and maybe I'll have to see if I can find that before we go. Let me log you in at 8:40. Our first radio on the list tonight from Robin. This was their, I think the only reason they stopped producing these is they had to figure out how to get 40 channels in there somewhere, because this was a good run for them. 1972 to 1976, it replaced the T123 that had the magic eye. So maybe that's why they kind of overdid it with the pilot lights. They took out that magic eye and realized, we got to have something to keep people awake here.
Well, that night, I think the next one after this, although I'm not certain, wasn't that the T240 Delta Yellowbird executive type radio?
That is correct. When at 1976, 77, 40 channels, and they went to the 240D, and then prior to 1972 was the Magic Eye on the 123. So this is I think this is the one that got probably the most production the most sales between the three of them with the 3-year run. But really, really nice.
Yeah, there's more than a few of these out here, and most of them are in pretty nice condition. I don't know how much they actually got used. I hope this one is sounding okay. I haven't fired it up, as you know, in quite some time. And before I forget, I got to ask you, have you or has anybody else seen like a T240 alpha, beta, gamma, as opposed to just the delta? I never saw any other version.
You know, that's a good question. So if you follow the T123, the T123B, then they went up to the 240 and it was a D. So what happened to the 123C? What happened to anything with C? And like you said, what happened to the A, B, and C of the 240? That is a question best answered by those in the know, which unfortunately isn't me. The 123B was one of the first, or their first import from Japan. So I think it shared the chassis with some other radios, but really did have a good audio. 11 tubes, and believe it or not, I see that at oldtuberadio.com, not only is there a schematic available for downloading or looking at, there is also an operator's manual, which I don't think you need because you're operating it quite well. All those 11 tubes and even 2 transistors in there somewhere. Back to you.
Yeah, I think those are for when you go into mobile type mode, which at some point I will also attempt to do. I have a few things I need to get taken care of, but at some point I'm going to start checking in mobiles again, and this is one of those radios that I also check in as a mobile.
And that you have checked in as a mobile before. That's right. On my FT101, I had to put the DC conversion kit on it, and it was this device that's strapped on it, that's hooked onto the back, that had 2 big transistors on as well. So could be part of that. It sounds good, base or mobile. I think you said you're out in the cabana. So you're not able to hear the audio as it comes through. But as you know, we do archive the audio at oldtuberadio.net on the archive section, and it's split between SWL and Tube Radio check-in, so you'll be able to find it. Our first radio on the list at 8:40, Green Arrow at the microphonium, the MT1 microphonium of his Robin T123 Bravo, and also his photo of that radio as well. We'll go back to you for another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by and getting us started off here.
Yeah, and thanks for letting me check it in. As I am in the range expand mode, and as you know, the MT1 is a powered microphone. Do I dare try flipping the switch?
Well, let's see if you want, and I'm going to put a shot of your 123. This is not the radio he's on, but it has the MT1 microphone, so just so you can see that, because that's kind of a rare thing to have the matching microphone. And yeah, I say give it a go. We'll work with you. If it shuts the audio down, we'll get you back to make the switch work. But his range boost is on. You will see what the range. I said range boost. Is it expand? Anyway, it's on. I think he's going to turn it off, and we will definitely see the difference. I'm sorry, we will hear the difference. We're seeing the difference as we are now showing, if you're at the video, the MT1 microphonium with his other radio. But that's a nice looking. Sort of looks Turner-esque and Shure-esque at the same time. Back to you.
Okay, well, let's give it a shot. Range expand is on. Now, hey, did it do anything? Range expand is off. Maybe it's stuck. Oh, great. Range expand is back on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Range expand is off. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Range expand is back on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Did that make any difference?
All right. Well, this is the crackle frequency, but there is we can tell when you're moving the switch, but nothing happens. Well, I shouldn't say nothing happens. Nothing changes. So there is no reduction or amplification of the audio. It is range boosting all the time.
Yeah, that's what it looked like on the meters here too, and the mod light. I didn't see any change in behavior, but it is functioning normally right now.
Yeah, it's functioning normally. Just a little crackle, in the audio, and everything is, I mean, inserting a little crunchy, little crackly crunch, but the audio never changes. It's still nice and loud. Over.
Okay. Is the crackly crunch gone? Yeah, I'm not seeing any crackly crunch on the meters or anything. I have it back in range expand on. I'm hoping I should probably just leave it there until I get in there with some cleaner and clean it.
Yeah, the crackly crunch is only when you are moving the switch, so it's momentary, but there is no change in the audio. You have lots of mellowness and low frequency and things like that. So I'm assuming that's the range. From what I remember, the range expand does that. Adds a little bit of low frequency, as well as increasing the gain of the audio. I'll actually add some low frequency, and I think that MT1 probably adds some as well. So you are good. If you leave it, if it's in the on position, it is definitely in the on position. There is no extraneous crackling or crunching. That's only when you are moving the switch over.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure what you meant at first. So, okay, good. Yeah, as long as it's in working mode right now, that's a good thing. Oh, man. Yeah, that was kind of creepy. I turned it off, and yeah, no effect, except for crackling and crunching, as you say. I think I'll just leave it here because it's working. What do you think?
Okay, and now, of course, because I said it wasn't, now it is a little bit of crackly static in the background. So I don't know. Go ahead and flip it one more time before you go. See if it'll straighten out.
Well, it might be the mic too. The potentiometer on the mic is really bad. But let's see. There, give it a few good throws. How's that?
It's sounding good and looking good. The Robin T123 Bravo on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks.
And thank you. Catch you next week.
And we will be here next week, same time, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 27085, oldtuberadio.net, and hopefully on the video, live stream video as well. Let me check out and see who is out there waving a hand. Brian, the mighty KUH, in the land of the L4Bs, is out there tonight. Hello, Rich, as well. And from, is that in Ohio? I can't, the type is so small on my screen, I can't see it, but Dennis in Ohio. From one Dennis to another. And, of course, Butterbean, Northeast Georgia, who tunes us in occasionally on the 2015 computer. It works, even though we're doing radios from the 20th century, your 21st century computer is working quite nicely. All right, Paul has been very patient with us, standing by for a transmission from his Radio Shack that has many radios. He may be up to, 10,000, 20,000 radios by now? I don't know. There's a lot of radios. We hear, we are lucky enough to hear a few each week. Hello, 45.
Yeah, there are no thousands, that's for sure. That's as many as it is up there. Hey, I want to check in my Browning Raven 23.
All right, the Browning Raven 23. I'm pretty sure we have a shot of that on the video, which I will endeavor to get when I get on the right screen here. But it's got some good audio and looks good on the S meter, and we will go with it. Radio number 2 on a radio that we don't hear often, mainly because it's pretty rare. Over.
Yeah, just waiting for the picture to come up. I know it'll pop up any time. Well, what a difference between this and the Drake. My goodness. 2 years different in manufacturing. This thing is a Cadillac. Yeah, that's a picture of it right there. It's a really pretty radio. Anyway, this thing came with 23 channels. It is a 23 channel, the Raven 23, but they also made a Raven 8. And they sold it for $219 with just one crystal to go in it. I don't know why they did that, but I would think with probably the same outer as the 23 and 8 would be. I don't think they would do any changing on the thing as far as the looks of the thing. And this thing is really a nice radio. It's got a big meter on the front. They don't have a front fire speaker on the thing. They don't have room for it with that big meter. and it jumps around, and there's got an on-air light on the left-hand side of the meter. Just a really, really neat radio. Back to you, Dennis.
Okay, niche radio sound. It's got good audio, good loud audio. I'm assuming you're using the microphone we're showing there, which looks like the typical hand mic. Yeah, the real estate they used for that S meter, it seems like they could have used a little bit more for, I think that's the channel selector there, that little tiny opening above the selector, and it almost looks like they used one of their meters out of the like the Mark II or the Mark III. Now, this came out about the time of the Browning Eagle, the 23 R27 S23. I think they used to advertise them together, the Raven and the first Eagle. But that size meter, if I remember correctly, was not on either the transmitter or the receiver, the R27 S23. They didn't have that size of a meter, so very, very interesting. And maybe if you've been listening past couple of weeks, Harvey has been checking in on the, what do they call it, a compact? It is a Browning transmitter, but it's smaller, and I think it only had 8 channels. And it was a lesser, sort of a lower price point. So maybe they had a similar thing with the mobile where you could, get into a Browning mobile for a little bit less if you used less channels or something. I don't know. Anyway, sounding good is Radio 2. I believe the shot, the video that we're looking at, picture there is your actual the radio on which you were talking.
That's not my picture, that one, no. I don't have that red scratch. I think that's the call letters on the middle of it. And mine's just plain. Matter of fact, that's the better looking front than this one. But I don't have that red sign on, whatever that is, call letters, like I said. Now, this is really a pretty, you can't really see the radio that well, but the thing is covered with black leather-grained vinyl. That whole radio is covered with that, the top and side and everything. And then the front, as you can see, it's got that brushed aluminum. Real attractive radio. Browning did an #1 job on this thing. They got 2 interventions in it, so before I tell you, the receiver on this thing is just fantastic. I'm really bragging it up. I can't really say much more. It's just it's all hand-wired radio, and anyway, I'm running a ceramic microphone by Shure on this thing. It's got the Browning Laboratories logo on the front of the mic, so it's a genuine thing. Anyway, I'm real pleased with it, Dennis, and thanks for checking it in.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. Just remind people you are listening to, or maybe looking at if you're at the video, the Browning Laboratories. It's called the Raven. It came out in 1965. Price point about $270 for the full 23-channel version there, and it was a companion to the original Eagle, the R27 S23. So good deal. Thanks for bringing it by here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark, and we are looking for radio number 3. And maybe the jingle singers will step up. Where are they? Okay, they're stepping up to the ribbon microphones over in the other studio, and when they get there, they're going to sound a lot like this.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And over at oldtuberadio.net, let me get SWL 18 checked in. Mikey is at his radio control table, waving a hand to everybody. Thanks there, 18, for checking in. I have not talked to him in quite some time on the HF side. He, like me, has one of the Kenwood TS2000 radios, I believe. I don't know what he's got running now, but anyway, he's out there waving a hand. Hello to those listening online, the Mountain View Google bots out there checking us out. The Old Tube Radio Network streaming live and here at 27085. Hello to Stockton, California. I don't think I could have a stacked, Lightning 8s and then point it down 99, and I just don't think we would make Stockton, even on the short skip. Hello, Utah. That is SWL 44. Hendersonville, Tennessee is SWL 31. Madera, Frisco, Texas, SWL 68. Hello to Chantilly, Virginia, which I believe is SWL 128. Florida is in South Carolina, 83. New York, 63. Torrance, and many, many others that are tuning in and hoping that their favorite Tube Radio will stop by tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network listening.
45.
And hello, Paul, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
This thing isn't warmed up yet. Trying real hard. This is my Hammerland CB-214.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's trying to warm up. I hear you, and it's making some audio. So let me see if I have a picture of the Hammerland. Hammerland, one of our manufacturers that made the change over from 11-meter non-Class D, famous for their receivers, and they tried their hand at a few 11-meter style or 11-meter Class D radios, and Paul has one of them right now. So let's get back to you on the Hammerland CB-214. Over.
It's a pretty little radio. It's not really fancy. Just kind of like a I don't know what you call it, square type radio. That everywhere's coming out with that time. And so other than that, it's about it. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty blue radio. This is sort of their budget version, because they had the HQ series, the 105T series, which was their receiver, their Hammerland receiver with the transmitter, 11 meter transmitter in it. And then there was the CB212 and the CB23, and I think those all had the 23 channels and the S meter. And this 214 is a little bit more, I'm going to say, budget-oriented, or something like that, where I was trying to see if I could find a price point on that. 3 watts output, 5 watts input to the final. It looks like it would do 12 volt DC and 117 AC as well. And it's sounding pretty good. There was a little bit of oscillation at the beginning of your transmission. Take another transmission, we'll see how it's working. It cleared up right at the end. It was good, clear audio, but I'm not sure why it was doing that. Over.
Okay, well, Dixon just about got a double this mic. Get real close to it. But anyway, it's interesting. It's got that one little light in the middle down there next to the cord on the microphone. And that glows real red, so it gives you modulation. But he's up on things. It seems kind of a lower red colored on the thing. Really neat for that part anyway. Back to you.
Okay, I was leaning over the radio table there. Those listening on the stream heard me zero beat your frequency. Wanted to see where you're at. 27084. You're about a KC low on that, but sounding good on the item. And I'm going to say, compared to your prior radio in the Browning, this one probably has, it's down about an S unit from where you were, so maybe about half the power. Might have 1.5 watts coming out of that thing, but hey, it's an old tube radio. It's a Hammerland, And it's classic and classy. Doing okay here on the Old Tube Radio Network, over.
It didn't have the power. Trying to heat it up.
All right, well, doing a good job. I do not have, I was looking for a year of manufacture, which I do not have. So I'm going to say this is probably mid to early 60s, of course. And there aren't a lot of these around. When you check into a lot of the Facebook sites that deal with older CB stuff, you don't normally see this Hammerlin. So we're lucky to have it stopping by here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Our operators do a good job of going through their collections and making sure they check in some of the rare ones, as Paul is doing tonight. Radio 3, the Hammerlin CB214. If it's got another transmission in it, Paul, give it to us. Otherwise, we will catch you next time.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for checking it in. I got one more here, and I'm going to try to get one done.
Okay, yeah, that one is hanging on for us tonight, so we won't push it more than it is necessary. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. Over 30 years here on the air at 27085 in Central California, hanging out and kind of trying to remember what it was like back in the day. Some of you remember hanging out in the CB radio, the 5-minute rule. Remember, you'd talk for 5 and be off for 5, and if you had call letters, you might ID with your call, but it was pretty busy out there. You usually had various channels that you would hang out in the whatever city you might be in, and everybody got along pretty well. And you also you were looking over your shoulder every now and then in case the FCC was hanging out in the neighborhood, which they sometimes did. Anyway, the only buddy hanging out in the neighborhood right now is our shortwave listeners and our tube radio operators, and we are looking for radio number 4.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest nation for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
A station for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network. I'm looking for radio number 4.
45.
And we may have a winner. Hello, Paul. Sounds like radio number 4. Over.
Yeah, okay. Boy, last weekend we were waiting in line. I never got all my radios set in. It was really a nice, busy time. Maybe it'll pick up, hopefully. Anyway, I want to check in this little bitty radio. It's a Heathkit GW-22.
Okay, from Heathkit. And yes, Heathkit made a lot of things, and CB radios were one of them. Did I copy correctly? It's a 22. Over.
Yeah, it's all whiskey.
Okay, and yeah, usually the word little and Old Tube Radio don't go together, but this time it does. I think the Johnson Messenger and the Gonset G11 series and this radio that Paul has, a GW22, have the same kind of style, kind of bread box style. And you can see the we've got a shot of it now. I'll put it up here on the video stream as well, where you can compare the microphone to the radio, and it is kind of a compact radio. I don't know if we have a tube complement, but this is one that would it might show up on your a doorstep in a box. It would be in little parts and pieces in little plastic bags with some instructions for you to put the thing together. And whoever did this one, Paul, did a good job because it sounds pretty good. Over to you on the Heathkit GW22.
Yeah, okay. They sold the kit for $45, and the factory wire is sold for $80. So you get a pretty nice radio for under $100. Very nice little radio. It's like, you know, they're boxy back then. They were kind of square out and all that. Nice, just interesting put on the thing. You can see it's got the 5-channel selector switch on the thing, and it's got an off and on toggle switch on the thing. But then off on the right, it's got a volume with an off and on switch on it. I can't figure why they did that. Somebody's wired something wrong. But anyway, the slugs and everything working on the thing, all the channels are working. The lights on the top are working. So that's pretty much about it. It's a neat little radio. Back to you.
Yeah, and it's in that Heathkit had a couple of colors. They had a turquoise, kind of a blue, and a green that they used. And this was another of their kind of two-tone brown that showed up on a lot of their radios. And yeah, I don't show a price point on this, but that was very affordable for a CB radio. And unlike a lot of the radios where you'd have a 12-volt DC or 115-volt AC option in the radio, on this particular item, what you had to do, I think, was order whether it was house current or a DC, you know, AC or DC, and the GW22A, which is the version of the radio you have, which I'm assuming is plugged into the wall. That's the A version. The GW22D was the 12-volt DC version. Sam's PhotoFax Book 5 for CB5, and page 41 has more about this. And then there is a schematic over at oldtuberadio.com if anybody wanted to find out more about this, or you have one and are trying to see how it works. It does sound good. I'm going to say this has the same power output, or close to the same power output as the Hammerlin 214 from the S-meter reading here. And the audio, considering, is not too bad. Over.
Yeah, okay, that's an easier radio. It's got a Turner mic on the thing. I didn't know what to do about it. The fact it's Turner mic. I don't have an amber in it, but it's hardwired in there, so it's just somebody rewired it. It's the original mic. Which I'm sure it is. Same kind of mic is on the one in the picture and the heat kit deal there. So anyway, that's well, I'm trying to figure out. There's not much else to say about it. It's just like this little small little radio. It's just 8 feet there. That's it.
Yeah, and the Class D service wasn't supposed to be anything where you sat down at a transmitter and receiver and tuned and loaded and spotted, even though there were some radios that you could do that. It was really made to be more simple. It was not a hobby. It wasn't supposed to be anyway. Class D was supposed to be a hobby thing. So keeping the radios simple was what it's all about, and this is one of them. Sounding pretty good history. The GW series, Heathkit had, if you're your amateur radio operators might know, and you might have, if you're listening out there, you might have someone. They were the HW. They used to call them a Hot Water 101. They were the HW series for the amateur side, and for some reason they gave the 11-meter Class D side a GW. So I don't know what kind of water that is, but it's not a hot water for sure. It's sounding good, Paul. Radio 4, the Heathkit GW22. If it's got another transmission, you can give it to us. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for checking it out. I'm going to sit back and listen once, so thanks again, Dennis.
All right, well, thanks for getting us started here in the first hour, filling up the pages, and we will see how many more we can get up to the 10 o'clock hour here on the West Coast, the Old Tube Radio Network. Hanging out at 27085 is our frequency. That's channel 11. A lot of these radios, like the one that Paul was on that had 4 or 5 selectable channels, typically would come with channel 11, and that's one of the reasons we picked that frequency, because it seemed like a lot of the tube radios, if it only had one channel, channel 11 would be it. So worked out pretty good. Other than that, I think the jingle singers, I am trying to look over all the equipment here to see if they are standing by the ribbon microphone, and they appear to be. So let's head over that way and see if they can tell us what it is that we're doing here.
You're listening in the
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11 Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Break OTR.
The in wonderful Fresno, California, the Break OTR. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dennis. Sorry I wasn't in here earlier. I've been watching a really good movie, Wonder Woman, so. But this is SWL 37 officially checking in.
All right, and I'll get you on the official board, and this is the Watch a Wonderful Movie frequency, and that is a perfectly good thing to do on a Saturday evening as we start getting into the fall-like weather at night anyway. I think the temperatures are going to go back up. Yosemite having some snow already, but, the big Fresno Fair is coming up, so temperatures will be warming up. I didn't see what happened to the raisin people, the people drying the grapes to make raisins when we had our little storm the other day, if that messed anybody up. But, Chris, we've got you checked in. Over.
Okay, well, I did see some on the news. They were complaining. They did not know what the damage would be yet. Of course, it takes a few days to see if the molds are going to build up on them or whatnot. But if they were really worried, all they had to do is roll them up real quick, throw them in a truck, take them down there to LMP, and throw them in dehydrators and be over and done with.
Yeah, they actually take the grapes, lay them out on a little piece of paper, and the rain hits them, so they end up rolling them up. I guess it keeps them from getting really wet. But we had some substantial rain there. Was it Monday or Sunday or Monday? So it's always a bad thing at the end of September for those things to happen. So hopefully they're doing okay. All right, you're sounding good. Not sure if the movie is over. We're here for another 45 minutes, but you are officially in Hello Radio.
And yes, the movie is officially over. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but if you haven't, come on over and I'll play it for you. It is a good movie. I was surprised how good it was. So it made its money, honestly.
All right, I used to have, I might still have it. I think it's totally faded out. A Wonder Woman beach towel, but that's from the original Wonder Woman. I don't think there was a movie, right? It was a TV show, so that was 30 years ago anyway. I used to have fun with my Wonder Woman beach towel. All right, well, everything old is new again. I think there was a breaking station. This is the Old Tube Radio Network, and I'm going to stop talking, and I will listen for that breaking station. Over.
Good evening, Dennis. This is SWL62 checking in late, but I'm on frequency.
You are indeed on frequency, and not late enough that we would be off the air somewhere else, that we could not get you officially checked in with what we call an X in the square and the official oldtuberadio.net check-in. So sounding good from beautiful downtown Clovis tonight, Rex, and glad you remembered the Saturday night place to be. Over.
Good, Dennis. Talk to you next week.
All right, we will be here on the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for, where's my list? We are looking for radio number 5. This is the Old Tube Radio Network. We are listening for radio number 5.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, this is the Old Tube Radio Network, over.
Yeah, number 20. And the item of interest is my Robin T123B. Haven't checked this in years. And I was down at the shop, and one of the guys down there needed to wire up a power plug, and there's no schematic in SAM, but I happen to have this, and also a very, very good photocopy of a Robin T123 manual with schematic and all. So we got it all wired up. And I decided to spruce this thing up and check it in. Then I noticed that then I remembered that I had sold my 123B and gotten another one, and then I got the original back. So I have a couple of these.
All right. Well, as you well know, you can never have too many Old Tube radios. You might have too many to store them all, but other than that, you cannot have too many. I want to make a comment. This has really clear, nice audio. It's loud, but it's not muffly or mushy, or there's no background noise. It really, really sounds good. Over.
Okay, well, thank you. I do have the range boost on because the Cliff is, or the Harvey range boost extra on. Because if Cliff is listening, he had a high noise level and couldn't hear me without it. This is with the range expand off. And this is with the range expand on the radio there. So you can let me know. And there it's off again.
Okay, well, that is a good demonstration. We couldn't get that to happen with the one Cliff was running. It was always kind of stuck on. But this is the before and after for sure. When you turn it on, it does exactly what it should do. It amplifies the audio. It throws in a little bit of low frequency, and it gets louder, but it gets a little bit mushy. You know, it gets a little bit fuzzy around the edges. Not flat topping or distortion, but it has that, I don't know, it has that sound. But boy, when it is off, and you are probably a little bit undermodulated when it's off, it is just crystal clear. It just really sounds good, and it's still loud. So there probably is a setting somewhere between the range boost on, and I can't remember if you told me you were running an amplified microphone or not, but you could adjust it that way. But everything is working the way it should, and I'm sure you see a little bit more winking and blinking on the modulation light when you kick it in there.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. And it's an amplified D104 set at 1/4. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, I found a third 123B that I've got. I don't know how this happened. I guess I thought I didn't have one, so I went for one and got it. Anyway, there'll be at least, I'm keeping this one, I believe. I like this one. And the other two, the faces are pretty good. The cases painted the correct color, but could use repainting. And I might keep a second one, but I'm probably going to sell at least one. And they won't be really expensive. Anyway, one thing I noticed is that the meter on the right below the meter, it says S-RF. And then if you look in the meter, on the bottom part of the meter below the 0 through 5 wattage scale, on most meters it says S and then power or SRF also on the meter. Well, mine says Robin. It actually has the Robin name on there in kind of greenish there, kind of light green. And I noticed that one of the other two has the same meter. And then the third one's got the S power meter. I believe it says S power on the meter. So there are at least two styles. So for those who have these radios, and there are a lot of people, which one do you have? In the manual photocopy I have shows a kind of a caricature picture. It's not an actual picture, but it's a printed out representation. Below the meter on the metal, it doesn't show the SRF, but in the meter, it shows the word Robin. So who knows what they actually meant to have. But some of these have Robin, some have S power. We have a couple of boneyard type radios of this style, this type at the shop. I'm going to check and see if I can see what meters it has. If somebody has an SRF meter in there and wants to change to Robin, I'll see how many we've got. Maybe we could do that.
Okay, interesting. And leave it to Harvey to find out these little items that probably no one else would notice. And I've never asked anyone, and we do get a lot of 123Bs checking in, so we'll have to put that in the checklist. You just wonder, this is a 4-year production run from 1972 to 1976. So you wonder if they started out in 72 with the Robin meters and maybe they just ran out and the supplier said, no, we can't get those anymore, and they put the other ones in, or somehow they got a deal with the Robin, and for the later models they did that. So, I have to look at the 123 to see what kind of meter they used on that, and if they had Robin in that one. That might tell something that it was an earlier run or a later run. Again, this is a 4-year production run on these radios, so the only thing that really killed them off was they had to go to 40 channels and do a different thing. And this was an import, of course, Japanese import. So maybe they worked out a deal. There is a schematic. There's an operator's manual at oldtuberadio.com. Sounds really great. It is radio. Did I write it down? Yes, it is radio number 5 tonight. And I'm curious. You may not know, and don't jump around doing contortions to answer my question if you don't know. I don't see it on the front, but I just wonder if that had a headphone jack or a way for an external speaker to be plugged in. Over.
On the back. On the back is where you plug it in, and there's a button in the upper right. External speaker, you push that in. The little yellow light in the middle top lights up. And then there's a PA bottom on the below the external speaker button, and you push that, and then the white PA light lights up. Oh, one other thing. I don't know if Clint mentioned this. This is one of those models, along with a couple others from other companies, that had the instant on feature on the volume control. When you plug the radio in the wall, even though the volume control was off, the tube filaments were lit. They were heated up. So if you came back an hour later and just flipped it on, it was on. It was called Instant On, which is what's printed on there. Anyway, I have changed that over so you don't run electricity all the time. When you plug it in and the switch is off, the radio's off. And I've done that to the other two at the shop, so that when you get the radio and you plug it in, it's not on, heating up all the time. And when you turn the switch on, you have to wait for it to come on, like most other radios.
Okay, yeah, it's this is the patience. You must have patience version. Wait, that was it 2 to 5 minutes for the radio to at least 2 minutes, at least 5 minutes maybe for the everything to warm up and be happy and get on frequency. Probably on frequency. Just you want to give a little time to warm up. Radio number 5. We're talking with Harvey in his Radio Shack on the new or the old or one of his. Robin T123B. The reason I ask about the speaker thing is for always looking for radios that could be used for net control purposes, and because of the streaming and things I'm doing here, they really need to have some type of way to output audio into the system here, and that is certainly more easily done if you have a headphone jack or an external speaker or something. Where I can work with that. So a good deal. Sounds good. Just like I said, the audio without the range boost is just nice and clear. Like I said, it's not 100% modulated, but it's not weak by any means. But it really has a good FM. I mean, that quality without any mushiness and clearness. And the D104 is a good microphone for that. And then, of course, when you kick in the range boost, range expand, it does get louder. Back to you for another transmission. What did I say? Oh, it is an 11-tube radio. What's in there? A lot of 12AX7s, 12AT7s, and a lot of 6-somethings.
Hey, Roger. Also, these are a little hard to tune in the back. I think it's the antenna tuner on the bottom part. When you tune it, it's like tuning a Siltronic. When you're getting ready to do the antenna load type deal, they say tune for best receive. And then when you key up, you can tune it, tweak it just a little bit, one way or the other, for best output on transmit. That's how this one works too. So if it's out of tune, if that one's out of tune, your receive is almost non-existent. So you have to kind of tune that for receive, even though you don't think you have to, you do. And then you tweak it a little bit for output on transmit, and usually you don't have to move it too much, so your receive is okay. Also, at the shop, my R27S23 is still there, still for sale, and there's a 23F9 R2700 and a 23F9 R2700A. Both of those radios are basically pristine. I mean, they're really, really good shape. They're for sale down there also, along with the not as pristine R27S23. So you can see them kind of on eBay, check, and down at the shop. And I'll have one of these, not this one, but one of these ready to go for sale down there also in the next couple of days or so. Well, wait, next week we'll say.
Break OTR.
All right, breaker acknowledged. So, sounding good. Always good to have some local radios available locally, so they can be picked up and added to one's Radio Shack. And interesting about the tuning, almost like a pre-selector. My 101 was like that, where you would, if you tuned it, if you pre-selected it to the maximum receive, then your transmit was off, and then you could recalibrate when you were transmitting. So there probably is another adjustment on the inside to kind of mesh the two together, where you max when your receive is maxed and your transmit is maxed. It aligns both of those. So I would imagine that if it's way off, you have to go in there and do something like that. All right, good to know. I always learn something here. I tune into the Old Tube Radio Network because I get to learn things that I don't know about these radios, thanks to are astute operators, and Harvey is definitely one. Radio number 5, the Robin T123B from one of them from the collection. I don't know. Maybe this is the A, B, or C. We had a question earlier, is like what happened when they went up to the 240Ds, what happened to the 240A, B, C, and what happened to the 123 C and D? Just somewhere between that 2340 channel conversion, they jumped numbers and left out some letters. All right, any comments you might have, Harvey? Go ahead and make them, and then we will pick up the breaking station. Back to you.
Well, I just don't know. Just like sonar model E and G and H, where's the A, B, C? Don't know. Okay, we're out.
All right, thanks for bringing by a radio. The old Tube Radio Network, Real Radios.
Where's the A, B, C?
And we have instant replay there. Real Radios glowing in the dark here, and we are... what are we doing? Oh, we're waiting for Chris. Hello, radio.
Hey, it's working. Okay. SWL 37 here. We're going to check in my radio, my general radio.
All right, it will be Radio 6, your general radio telephone of some make and model.
There we go. Audio. Let's see. Is it working now?
It worked that time, over.
All right, yes. Then that sounds like it's dirty. That's what it is. But anyway, my general radio telephone, the Super MC11A, 24-channel tube that glows in the dark. And, yes, and, yeah, and this is running a non-amplified stock microphone.
All right, and it was 100% that time. A little crystal's not making contact there or something, but you have fixed the situation. General radio telephone, Super MC11A, probably vintage around very close to the Robin T123, 123B era in the early 70s. And just super duper audio from the supplied stock microphonium. No range boost, range expands necessary. I don't think it has. There's a lot of switches on the front of that, but are one of those a range boost, something like that, over?
Well, it has a distance and local, but that just only works on receive.
Okay, I think we've played with those before. It's sort of like an RF, I'm going to say an RF attenuator or something like that. So it's definitely for the receive side, and you don't need any amplification on the transmit side. That's for sure.
All right, now see right there. This is the local distance switch. Maybe it does have something to do with it. Hello, it kind of dropped there. Hello. Let's see, and then we'll take it back up. Lord behold, you know what? I think it does.
All right, there's no difference in the audio, and I'm checking the S meter here. No difference in the S meter. So if you're looking, maybe it's changing something on your meter there, but it doesn't look like it's changed anything on the transmit side.
Yeah, it's just on the meter on the radio it changed. When I have it there, it stays up there like full, like normally, and then I drop it there, it goes down like a half scale, and then back up there, it brings up to 3/4 scale plus,
All right, my guess is if you work it now while I'm talking, then you might see some difference. It depends on whether if it's boosting something, you might see my S meter level go up. If it's an RF gain like thing, then you may not see any difference in the S meter, but when I stop transmitting, you might hear a difference in your noise floor if it's more of an RF gain control, over.
Yeah, when I flipped it down local, then you drop down real mellow like compared to where I like to hear you, and then when I hooked up the other way, it brought you back up. So, yeah, I guess that's what it does, but I guess it shows it on the output on the radio, but not on the audio out there where you guys are listening.
Right. It's definitely for receive, doing something with the RF gain and attenuation on the receiver. So that would work when you're talking to SWL 47 is real close to you. You could put it on the local side and keep him from overloading the front end of that receiver.
47 is who?
That's Mike, who lives around the corner from you.
Oh, Mike. Do I know him? I don't know.
Oh yeah, he checks in. You always say, "Where are you?" every time he keys up. I said, "You're pinning me out." So that would help. That's what that switch is for.
But I haven't heard him in a while.
All right, he's. Did he check in tonight? Not sure if he checked in yet tonight. I'm checking that he hasn't checked in yet tonight, so he might be out there. We still have a little bit of time. All right, you are radio number 6. If I didn't tell you, with your Super MC11A, give us another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
And as always, thank you for being there. I'm out and listening now.
And the Jingle Singers are here once again to tell us about the magic, such that it is, of the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
And hello to the Timtron, dialing in, beaconing in from the Pacific Northwest, from his Radio Shack. His Radio Shack, sort of like, I think, Jack Benny's vault, where he has to go kind of subterranean and through some guards and special locks, doors, and he gets down into that the Radio Shack where he has, I think, every frequency available from UHF, VHF, HF, DC light. Maybe he has the 2 new bands. What are the new frequencies coming up? The 220 meters. Is that it? 2200 and 163. Anyway, it's like 435 kilohertz, and the other one's like 137, 135. So you need a very large antenna to work those. Anyway, hello, Tim. And boy, it is quiet tonight. Not a speck of E-skip for sure. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is going in the dark. We've got another 15 minutes to go. If you're warming up your radio, we should be able to get you in. We were looking for radio number 7.
Break OTR there, Dan. Break OTR.
All right, 2 breaking stations at 20. Hang on one moment, and the break OTR that sounds a lot like SWL 53. Go ahead, over.
Yeah, Dennis 53 should get in.
All right. Hello, Bob. SWL 53. We've got you checked in via a proxy earlier, but you are live and direct, so we'll give you the X and the square. Over.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a good night there, Dennis. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for stopping by where real radios glow in the dark, the Old Tube Radio Network. And thanks for standing by, Harvey. It's over to you.
Hello, the R27S23 Golden Beagle by R27S23. How about the R68T68? The Golden Beagle Dog from Browning Laboratories. Time to go in. Anyway, with the custom D104. One of my favorites. We'll check this one in and we'll be done.
Okay. Yeah, when you told me it was the R27S23, I'm thinking, boy, you did some peeking and tweaking on that, because it is super loud, but it is the standard operating mode that we get from that to your favorite radio, the Browning, the original Golden Eagle, I guess, the Mark None, the Mark 1, something like that. R68T68 for Radio 7 sounding good. Over.
Roger. Yeah, one of my favorites. I think, this was the first Browning that I picked up in this area after I moved here years ago. I already had one, the Golden Eagle Mark III, and then I found this one at a garage sale and picked it up, and it's been a good performer ever since. Okay, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to turn on in, or go back on in, listen to the live stream. And folks, don't forget, down at Bill's shop, Red Monkey Communications, tube radios for sale. Okay, talk to you later, Dennis.
Okay, yeah, good way to start your collection. Get your feet wet if you'd like to have an old tube radio, even if you only check it in once a week. That's sort of why we're here. You don't have to run it as a daily driver, although a lot of the radios there, I'm sure you could. But we give the off the opportunity to get things checked in here at least once a week on a forum that showcases the tube radio right here at 27085 on oldtuberadio.net. The just like Harvey there with his Golden Eagle R68T68, originally on the shelf, brand new, 1967 through 1968. If you had about $400, you could bring one home, as somebody did. And Harvey also did. He's got a couple of those. Had an optional matching speaker in a nice wood case, and also had a wood cabinet, a wood surround cabinet that would replace the metal cabinets and make things look pretty spiffy too. Thanks for Radio 7, Harvey. Go on inside. That is nice and loud. And listen from old to tuberadio.net, 73. And boy, Tim is up on 1.2. I have two capable 1.2 radios, or semi-capable, because they're not configured. One is the 736 The old classic Yaesu 736R, which needs the module for 1.2, but I think I actually have room for one more module in there. And then the TS2000, although I don't have the X model. I think you really have to buy the X model for that. So the best bet would be to find the module for the 736R, even though it's limited in power. And boy, the last time I checked, they're about $500 or $600 if you can find them and they work. And then where you really shine on that, as you know, as Timtron knows, is getting your antenna set up, making sure you've got the right type of non-attenuating coax feed up to whatever antenna you might have. But there was a repeater here in town, which I don't know if it's active anymore. There might be probably 3 or 4 stations around that actually use it. So I think the guys that have the 1.2 are always looking for other stations to come on the air so that they can check their radio out and have somebody to talk to. So hopefully up in your area, things are pretty good. Of course, during the contests, you are a popular person too for that extra multiplier, I'm sure, if you're doing that. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for, we just had Radio 7, so we were looking for Radio 8 here in the 10 minutes we have to go. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. We're looking for radio number 8.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR.
Let's do some adding.
27.085
What
megahertz.
do they amount to?
Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
I guess it's time to pull that old radio down from the shelf.
Yeah, carefully.
Roger.
I really hate Facebook. It's you have a post and then you come back months later and you can't find out where it was. We have some great pictures I wanted to show here, but I'm not able to find where they wind up or where they go to, I should say, on the Facebook side. So at some point I'll get it figured out and find out what abyss these things go into as all the new stuff sort of piles back on.
Google it.
Google it. Yeah, but see, I want the ones that our listeners are sending in. I can Google it, but, we get that. But the ones, from our listeners' collections, that's specifically why I'm looking for them, because they do a good job. They always do take extra care when they're posting a picture, and the pictures are usually a lot better than what I can get to Googling something. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and for Tim, the crossband radio is the 736R over on the corner. That's the microphone that occasionally pokes into the shot here. Where is it? Yeah, the MD1 that occasionally pokes into the shot here is attached to the 736R because the TS2000. Actually, the TS2000 still works on VHF, UHF, but it's just that it's got that HF problem with the bad driver transistors, which I may or may not get fixed. Nobody is doing those anymore because of the problems on finding the transistors and getting good ones. Let's see. Let me stop talking because I think we've got another radio too that would like to check in here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
We're going to have to give it a few minutes to warm up.
All right, well, this is the few-minute frequency. As the song goes, we've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. And actually, we have a short time to get there for sure, but we got plenty of room. There is plenty of room left here on the list, so we'll get you checked in. And a reminder, you are listening to, watching, or tuning in somewhere, the Old Tube Radio Network. We are in Central California, broadcasting or transmitting or listening, or whatever you want to call it, at 27085. That's Channel 11. And our Old Tube radio operators and their collections doing a good job for us tonight. We do this every Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. And we've been doing it for over 30 years, believe it or not. So, this could be what it was like back in 1965 when the radio was brand new. And a lot of people, after they turned off the television set from watching, Green Acres, the Beverly Hillbillies, or Bewitched, would head over to the other side of the living room where the CB radio was, turn that on, and do the first form of, social media long before you had modems and the Universal Media Netweb, and it was just kind of fun to chat back and forth, and that's what we do. Listening for radio number 8.
Breaker OTR.
And Scooter has joined us up here on the table, so let me see if I can do this without knocking me or the cat off the bench here. The Breaker OTR, go ahead, please.
SWO 40, checking in on my General, oh wait, no, it's not General, the Gemtronics GTX 5000.
All right, one of those G words. My lists are also alphabetical, and Gemtronics is in between Gem Marine and General Electric. So let's see if we can find the GTX 5000, which I believe is going to be our first and probably only. Boy, I wish I had a better picture of this. 40 channel radio tonight. Over.
Oops, okay, and yes, it is 40 channels. I thought I'd mention it does have a thing called standby, where I can keep the tubes warm without overheating the receiver.
Yeah, since this is sort of the clone of that radio, this is a clone of the 240D, and the 123B was basically, I think, similar, but they added the 40 channels from the 23, so probably shares a lot of things with the Robin. So is that on your volume control? Is that, I think it's where Harvey said his was.
Actually, no. It's on the. Whoop, hello. It's not on it's not on the volume control. Let me make sure I'm transmitting here. Hello, audio. Okay. It's not on the volume control. It's on the squelch control.
Okay, so in theory, if that radio is plugged into the wall, which I believe that it is, and it's off, the radio is actually turned off, you know, there's no little channel selector illumination, things like that, you are still getting some filament voltage to the tubes if you have that particular device turned on. Is that how it works?
Actually, not quite. It's you have to have the volume in the on position. You know, you turn the radio off by clicking. You turn the volume knob, and then to activate the standby, you have to take the squelch and go down and basically it's like an on-off on the squelch knob, the same way the volume knob is. Here, I'm gonna experiment here and just while I'm transmitting, I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna turn it on standby. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
And indeed, he fades out as the, you lose your filament voltage and the tubes just sort of unglow.
Yes, and hopefully I didn't ruin anything.
Well, it had a nice little, I mean, it didn't sound like you ruined anything. You just sort of politely went away. There wasn't any big snap or pop or crackle or, and your voice was just went away. So it seemed like it was nice.
Yes, the capacitors slowly but surely discharged their voltage there. So, all right, there you go. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's running very, very warm on the right side there.
Okay, well, it has convection cooling, lots of little vents in the top. So don't think there's any problem that way. And it sounds good. No problem. Your Radio 8 with the Gemtronics GTX 5000. Yes, indeed, there were a few 40-channel tube radios, and this is one of them. Or his, I should say, Larry's radio is one of them.
Yes, and sometime in the near future, maybe I'll take a picture and email it to you there, if I haven't already done so. All right, this is SWL40 signing off.
Okay, and I think you can get it to Rob too at oldtubradio.com, and he has the wherewithal to actually get them into the database. We have one there, but like I said, it's less than stellar. It's almost a monochrome picture, and I'm sure it doesn't look like it's turned on or anything. I'm sure we can do better, but we're glad to have it. Thanks for the Gemtronics. I will say last call for radios as we are approaching the bewitching hour, and the jingle singers are gathered at the ribbon microphone to do what they do best at the end of the show, which is this.
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in.
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Break 1-1.
Being as modern as he can. Break 1-1. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Dennis. Request an extremely late check-in, please. 70.
This is your extremely late check-in frequency. Hello, Mark. Yeah, we haven't started counting and amounting yet, so I will add you to the page 3 SWL tally and say good evening. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking in.
I am, and I hope you are doing the same. And thank you. Have a great evening, Dennis.
All right, so far so good here. Our first fall 2017 Old Tube Radio check-in. We are counting and amounting.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR total.
This will be the current and final totals, as we are about 8 minutes after the 10 o'clock hour here in Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network. And what did we do? We are on... Oh, I wanted to mention, if you're playing the home game, you should add... Where is our home game? SWL 67. Bill is our 00 here for the next 7 weeks or so. Thank you, Bill, for doing that for us. And in the SWL check-ins, we ended up with 48 tonight. We had 11 on page 1, 13 on page 2, 15 on page 3, and 9 on page 4. That makes a total of 48. Doesn't look like we added anyone new. And we had 8 radios tonight. It goes week to week. You never know if you're going to get in the double-digit territory or not, but if we can get one, then we have achieved our goal, is to get somebody out on the radio and get it on the air. And that's we a couple times tonight. Most heard manufacturer, I think we had a tie between the Robins and the Brownings at 2 each. Started off with the Robin T123B, that was from Green Arrow on his Robin, with the official MT1 microphone that was manufactured for Robin by somebody. Kind of looked Shure or Turner-esque. But the Robin radio with the Robin mic, thanks Cliff. Good to hear you on. And then Paul gave us a triple play from his collection. Started with the Browning Raven 23. Kind of a rare radio from 1965, which the companion to the R27 S23 style of radio, and you can't miss it with that big S meter. Radio number 3 was Paul on the equally seldom seen and rare Hammerland, the CB214. Hammerland's sort of market entry, not 23 channel. I can't remember if it was 8 or 5. I think it was 5 channel. Radio from Hammerland. And then Radio 4 was Paul on the Heathkit GW22, which was very affordable if you decided to have it arrive at your doorstep in the little plastic bag so you could put it together in your spare time. And that was sounding pretty good. Thanks, Paul. A good combination, as always, of radios tonight from the early mode. The Robin T123B number 2, our second one tonight, Harvey on the west side, and really sounding good. Great audio with that radio, without the range expand on, and the D104. I think he said it was a D104 microphone. If you get a chance to listen to the archives, they are over at oldtuberadio.net. You can click on the archive button, look for the date, and whether it's an SWL Tube Radio check-in, and then use your Universal Media Net web player to hear the MP3 audio playback. Boy, somebody is racing around out there. It might be the Jingle Singers now that they're done, heading out of the studio here. Radio number 6 was Chris on his General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, loud and nice as always, followed by Radio 7, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. I should say Browning, I'm doing this wrong. Browning Lavatories, the Browning Golden Beagle, I think is how he says, R68 T68. For Radio 7, and then Radio 8 tonight, Larry going to the top shelf and firing up the Gemtronics GTX 5000, and sounding good doing it. This is the Old Tube Radio Network. We will be back next Saturday on this frequency, 27085, and hopefully on the other venues of the video stream from Google, YouTube, and at oldtuberadio.net with the live stream of your radio check-ins. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodix for keeping the Nixie tubes up and running. And, of course, thanks to you for your radio check-ins and keeping us on the air for these 30-plus years. 73, everybody. We will catch you next time on your Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night. Good night.
And good night on the video. And Scooter says good night, too. In 3, 2, 1.